Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much. I'm so very glad that you're here. Today I want to talk about your coloring fingerprint. What in the heck is that? Well, join me on the other side and I'll let you know. What in the world is a coloring fingerprint? Well, let's talk about it. Your coloring fingerprint is you. It's your style, your coloring style. It's where you are in your coloring journey today. And I feel like, I know I talk about the comparison trap all the time, but it's so easy to, especially with social media, to say, wow, I wish I could color as good as this person. I'll never be as good as that person. We all have somebody that's always going to be better than us that we aspire to want to color like. And the truth is, you will never be able to color like that person. And we're going to talk about 10 reasons why that is. The 10 things that make up your coloring fingerprint. And what I want to do is celebrate your coloring journey and where you are today. Not where you're going to be, not where you were yesterday, but where you are today. And let's talk about that and let's be excited about it, because your coloring style is uniquely you just as much as your own fingerprints. And, you know, we come to these YouTube channels, like you come to mine and other channels, and I know I have a lot of beginners on this channel, which I absolutely love. My goal for my channel, in fact, is to try to take people to their next level or your next level in your coloring journey, whatever that might be for you. It's going to be different for everybody. But you know, when you go to a coloring channel, you might do, okay, so this is going to be my next reverse color along, by the way. I hope you like it. But you might come to my reverse coloring along, reverse color along, and you will not be able to exactly replicate my page. Why? Because this is me and my style, and I will talk about the 10 things that influence my style that also influence your style. You can get really super close, but will it be identical? Absolutely not. And it's okay, because what I think and what I've seen is people take these reverse color alongs and they do some really cool stuff with them. So these are launching pads. So what I don't want you to do is beat yourself up when you can't color like somebody else. I want you to be excited about where you are and excited about where you could go next. So I hope that makes sense. And with that, let's get into the first attribute that makes your coloring fingerprint unique to you. The first attribute that makes up your coloring fingerprint is your coloring environment. So where do you like to color? Do you have a favorite coloring space? Are you coloring sitting in a cozy chair with your coloring book on your lap? Do you have an awesome crafting room and you're coloring in that? Are you coloring on the train as you commute to the office each morning? What is your coloring environment? What does that look like? But did you know that your environment can influence your focus, your mood, and even your coloring choices? So that's one thing to consider as we think about what makes up your coloring style, your coloring journey, and where you're at, is your environment. I will try to pop up a picture here. I think y'all have seen it, of my little coloring space in my office. My office is split in two. One half of the office is for my day job, and then this half of the office is my crafting desk. But yeah, what is your coloring environment, and how does that make you feel? And think about how that influences your focus, your mood, and your color choices. So with that, let's go to the second attribute. The second attribute that influences your coloring fingerprint is the time of day that you're coloring. And I say that because it could influence the lighting that you're using. So if you're coloring in the daytime, you might be sitting in front of a window that has beautiful natural ambient light coloring coming in and hitting your picture, and you'll see your colors one way. You could be like me and you're coloring. I color in the wee hours of the morning. I'm usually up around 4 a.m. every day, and that's when I color. But I use artificial light, like the lights that you see here on my video. You could be coloring at nighttime, and if you're coloring at nighttime, you could have warmer light based on the lamp that you're using, and that might look, something like this. Oops. Yeah, so you might have, your light might be different. And you can see how that changes the colors of your page, and it might influence your color choices because you don't see your colors the same as you would in the daytime. So that's another thing that impacts it. Also, the time of day that you color can be, your energy levels are different. So I'm super energized in the morning, And so I am like very alert, very focused in the morning, but I get to about, I hit a wall around 4 p.m. in the afternoon because I get up at 4 a.m., which means at nighttime I'm worthless, y'all. So, but you know, coloring at a time of day that energizes you. So if you can only get in your coloring, like for me, if I could only color, like today, the only time I had to color would be after work, I might not be as energized or creative because it's the end of my day and I'm pretty tired and I'm not very focused for sure. So that's something else to think about. So the time of day that you're coloring, your energy levels, the lighting, that influences your coloring style. I will be right back with attribute number 3. Attribute number 3 that makes up your coloring fingerprint would be the tools that you like to use. So here you can see I have a set of polychromos pencils that are probably almost 2 years old. And they're pretty much almost brand new. Some of these haven't even been used. And you can definitely see my ink tints haven't even been sharpened in a lot of cases because I haven't used these. But then if you check out my Prisma case, these pencils are loved. Now, there's an ongoing evergreen debate, which pencils should I use? And the answer is the pencils that you like the best, that feel good in your hands, that you enjoy the most. I don't care what they cost. I don't care where you got them. I don't care if they are or are not in open stock. If those are the pencils that you enjoy, those are the pencils you should use. And just remember, I don't want anybody to ever try to pencil shame you. You know, people say, oh, you should use wax. No, you should use oil, hardcore versus softcore. No, use whatever you like. And just remember, it's not the tool that makes up your coloring page. It's the artist. So I want you to be happy with the tools that you have, but those tools that you use are part of your fingerprint. That is part of your coloring style, and that's part of what is unique to your coloring journey. So with that, let's get on to attribute number 4. Attribute number 4 is your layering style. Do you prefer a lot of layers? Do you prefer just a few layers? If you are like me, y'all watch my channel long enough to know, I call myself the impatient colorist because I layer everything and I'm done in just a couple of layers because I don't want to spend all day coloring 49 layers to get the look that I'm looking for. But that is a Kim thing, and I think everybody has their own preferred way to blend their colors. I like to burnish just about everything because I like very vibrant colors with my work. So you can see here, I'm doing this probably a little quicker than I normally would, but you can see here when it comes to blending, I like to just jump in. Oops, so now I'm picking up the black marker. I like to just jump in and get her done, to use an old Texas quote. Yeah, so that's one way of blending. Or you could do, probably the preferred blending method for most people is the multiple layers. And it's softer, and the more layers you add, the blendier, is that a word, blendier? The more blended it gets. And it will continue to blend with the more layers you add, just going in softly and gently. So what is your preferred layering style? That will definitely be unique to your coloring fingerprint and your style, and what makes up your pages and makes them look like your pages. So that is the 4th attribute, and we will come back with number 5. Attribute number 5 that makes up your coloring style. Do you like to use mixed media on your pages? So mixed media can be a lot of different things. It could be using markers as a base, using watercolors. I see a lot of people use metallic watercolors like gold, and it's so beautiful. Glitter spray, stickles, any of these kinds of things. Are you putting those things on your pages? Because that will definitely be seen as your signature style. So here's an example. I've got Prismacolor actually makes a set of alcohol markers, and most of them, but not all, will match a color in the pencil set. So this is True Blue, and you can see here, I based the circle with the marker, and then this is here just showing you can compare the base to the actual pencil color, and then I went in with the pencil and added some shading and contour there. And then on this side, I did the same thing with a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, and this is warm gray 3. And this, I picked up Warm Gray 4 because I wanted something a little shade darker than the 3. And here, after the, I based it with the Pitt pen, and then I went in here with the pencil over that. So if you watch Jen's Coloring Corner, she is a huge fan of basing with markers first, her Ohuhu markers that she likes to use, and she will color, add details with her Prismas on top of that. So I will put a link to her channel in this video. If you haven't seen the way she uses mixed media, you're in for a super treat. But yeah, that's something that you could do there. So that mixed media definitely becomes your signature style, and that is definitely unique to you and your coloring fingerprint. So with that, we will get on to the 6th attribute. Attribute 6 that makes up your coloring fingerprint is your stroke technique. Do you like to color with like short lines or just color in lines? Or do you like to color in circles? Do you like to use hatching for your coloring method? Or do you like stippling? There's all different ways that you can color and apply the color, either your pencil, your marker, whatever you use. But that technique is unique to you and helps make up your coloring style. I tend to be this person here. If you want to see some amazing hatch work, you can check out Cat and Paste, her YouTube channel. And she does incredible, masterful things with Crayolas. I will leave a link to her YouTube channel in the description below. But if you want to see some really cool hatch work, check her out. And with that, that's attribute 6 that makes up your coloring fingerprint. And with that, we will move on to number 7. Attribute number 7 is emotional influence. So our emotions definitely influence the color choices that we make. So this page I started it the day before I had to say goodbye to Snickers. And I started with just the blue hearts because I was feeling blue. Sorry, it's hard to talk about. I probably didn't finish this page until maybe a month or 2 ago because I couldn't pick this up. But definitely your emotions influence your colors. And here's a case in point. Here, oops, I just bumped my light. I'm sorry about that. Here's a page. I'll turn it this way. I colored recently with just happy colors. You know, was just in a good mood, having a good day, and was able to knock this out. These are alcohol markers, by the way, which is not my normal medium. But yeah, so you can see the difference in how you're feeling will influence the colors that you pick up out of your pencil case or your marker case. So that is also going to influence your coloring style, and be part of your coloring fingerprint. So with that, let's move on to number 8. The 8th attribute that makes up your coloring fingerprint would be your preference for color palettes. So those of you that follow me on Instagram probably know already that I trend towards muted colors. I just love the way they look. I like to see what I could do with them. So here's a page. Here's a page, sort of muted, maybe a little more vibrant. I've got a big stack here I'm going to show you. This page, muted tones. Y'all have definitely seen this page recently, muted tones. And lastly, even though the sky is bright, these are all muted colors. So that is part of your signature. That's part of your style. That is part of what makes up your coloring body of work, your coloring journey. It is unique to you. So again, a definite important part of your coloring fingerprint. And with that, we will move on to I think we're on number 9. Okay, the 9th attribute that makes up your coloring fingerprint is your coloring speed. Do you like to knock out pages super quick, or do you like to knock them out over time? So do you sit down in one sitting and do your page, or do you kind of work on it over time? So there is no wrong way to do this. Some people just enjoy just getting through their pages and coloring them, and you know, they just color quicker naturally than you do maybe. This is a page I did in one day, which is unusual for me. But again, I was motivated. I was enjoying this, in a good mood. So I knocked this one out in one day. That's from my new book, by the way. And then this page that I showed you before, this is, by the way, from, oh, you can see how beat up this cover is. Enchanted Forest by J. Bass. And, oops, sorry for knocking the camera again. But this I've been working on for well over a week. So you can see, it just depends. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I want you to color at the speed that feels good to you, that you enjoy the most. But that is, again, part of your, your signature style. You know, the number of pages that you're completing, the number, you know, the speed at which you complete your pages, that's all unique to you. And I want you to be happy with where you are with that. And by the way, if you do a color along with me, I will make you wait probably about a month before I finish a page with you. Kidding, not really kidding. So that's number 9. And with that, let's get to the last attribute, number 10. Okay, the number 10 and final attribute on what makes up your coloring fingerprint would be the final finishing touches and embellishments you like to add on your page. So I'm going to show you 3 pages from my Winterspaziergang. I don't know if I'm saying that right. By Rita, the wonderful Rita Berman. So this is a double page spread, and you can see here I made it feel extra snowy because I outlined pretty much everything with my, I think this was a white gel pen, maybe some Posca in here. But there's that page. Then I've got another page in here where, again, using my white gel pen and Posca, adding those final embellishments to the page. And then lastly, where is my reindeer? Reindeer. I thought I had another little sticky in here. Okay. Here we go. Oh, see, that's when your sticky fails, when it doesn't actually make it outside of the book. Okay. Again, a lot of white Posca and gel pen work to add those final embellishments to my page. So the way that you do that is definitely part of your signature touch. How you, I can look at some pages and not know who the artist is, but when I look at the page, I'll say, oh, I know that's this person or that's that person, just based on those kinds of things. So that is definitely unique to you. With that, I will do a little wrap up. Okay, so to kind of recap what we talked about today, there are 10 things that make up your coloring fingerprint, and that coloring fingerprint is your unique style and your unique coloring signature touch. So the first thing that we talked about was your environment. We talked about the time of day that you color, your choice of tools, your layering style. I've got to look at my cheat sheet to the right to make sure I get everything. Your use of mixed media, your stroke technique, your emotional influences, your color palette preferences, your coloring speed, and finally, your finishing touches and embellishments. There are also a lot of other things that I didn't list today, like your use of white space, things like that, that can also continue to make up your uniqueness. But I really want you to walk away from this video feeling okay with where you are in your coloring journey, maybe even happy. I want you to own those things that make your coloring uniquely you. And yeah, with that, I think we're done. I hope you enjoyed this, and it was a little different, but I had a lot of fun putting it together, and I certainly hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to leave me a like and consider subscribing to my channel. With that, I will see you next time. Thanks so much.